out, and we're going to catch you on the flip side, y'all. Make sure you stay tuned and don't sleep.
Peace.
Now, it is time to get into the main course of today, and I'm talking about, that's right, The Last of Us, Episode 8, y'all. It's the Ellie level. It's the Ellie chapter. I love the way they were able to recreate this almost verbatim for this episode, man, where you get to play as Ellie in the game after Joel gets injured at the university, and that all took place in the previous episode, of course, and now Joel's kind of out for the count. Ellie was able to kind of sew him up a little bit and get him a little bit stabilized, but now she needs to find some more food and means of finding medicine and a way to get Joel back to health so they can get over there to the West Coast so they can get to the Fireflies and try to cure the world as we know it. This show has been fucking phenomenal so far, and I've absolutely been loving every episode, man. Certain ones I think are slightly better than others, but not by very much. I think every episode in this show is fucking great. Some are just like epically great, perfect, and other ones are just really good, great. I don't know how to fucking differentiate it at this point. Show's phenomenal, man. One of the best, the best video game adaptation of all time. I think we can all agree pretty easily on that one. But for your overall thoughts on the episode, my friend, coming from you being a hardcore gamer, being a longtime fan of the game, me just barely finishing the game, what did you think of this episode overall, man?
I really did enjoy this one. I thought it was a cool verbatim, like you mentioned, with the video game into the show itself.
Like,
there's
real
obviously
close.
there's like differences too with the group that Ellie runs into, ends up being kind of a religious group. That was like one little change that they kind of had with that, with the between the game and the video, the game and the show. But I honestly thought it was a nice little touch up, kind of gives them a little background, like how we mentioned before, like how the show was able to give more development of certain characters or certain groups of why they do certain things throughout the show.
Exactly,
Which
the
they didn't really do
hunters,
too much.
with
Yeah.
Melanie Linsky's character, and just getting to expand the Fireflies a little bit with Marlene in episode 1. And even getting to expand upon Tommy's stronghold over there in episode 6. I think they did a phenomenal job at expanding that and the movie night with the kids and showing where people were, how people are living and everything like that, and really getting into Tommy's relationship with his wife a little bit more and some of their history. So I love the way that every episode, as you just said, they've been able to expand on each chapter of the game and flesh out every aspect of the characters. Sam and Henry as well. They're even more fleshed out, more well-defined, more three-dimensional, and the characters they've added to the show haven't taken away from anything but have only improved upon what was already there. And I think Neil Druckmann just being directly involved in this show is the reason why they've been able to expand upon the material so well, is because he's the guy that wrote it. So him co-writing with the other guy to create this new story and new version of it, it just plays off of the page. It's almost like they just took the script from Naughty Dog's old library and just filled in a couple things here and there and changed a couple things around. But I love the way they're able to expand upon that. But continue with your overall thoughts, man.
But I would say as an overall thing with Ellie, it's kind of cool to see. It's kind of cool to see her, like their little development that she's going through without Joel. Like we kind of already know what Ellie does on her own throughout the video game. Obviously, there's a lot more stuff in the video game, but on the show, you kind of get like the key points of what she has to do to keep surviving. I mean, she only had I remember there's to a point in the scene they didn't really have any food, so she's like crumbling off whatever she had from I think from Henry and Sam, I would think.
Yeah.
Or even
so.
Not Henry and Sam.
Oh no, from
Joel's
Tommy
brother,
and
Tommy's group.
Tommy and Maria.
Yeah, Tommy and Maria. Like they only had very, very scraps, and she's eating you can tell she's kind of hungry. She's starving, but she has to get she wants to get the rest of Joel, and Joel's kind of on he's still recovering a lot,
knocking on death's door, bro. Still,
pretty much. And I liked how we're able to see those little struggles here and there throughout the show, and what Ellie has to do, and also using the teachings that Joe kind of taught her a little bit throughout the journey of them, for them to be able to survive. Like for instance, for her going on that little hunting with the deer, pretty much.
Yeah,
and,
man.
With her hunting them down, I thought it was you kind of see those little teachings along the way. But as an overall, because since we're gonna go through the breakdown of this episode, I really did enjoy it. I just can't wait to see what they're gonna do in the next week's episode, because I'm that's where a lot of stuff's gonna be happening as well to wrap up the series. And how they're gonna go about it, because like I
Oh
honestly
man,
don't
because
know how they're gonna go about with
the
what
ending, you know,
with
I'm
the
like,
ending of everything and
whoa,
how they're gonna get
man,
to that point from where they left off
whoa,
in this episode.
dude.
So,
Oh my gosh. One thing I want to say, real quick, because getting to my general thoughts as well. I love this episode. It's definitely up there for me. Bella Ramsey, man. We're watching another legendary actress become the legend they're gonna be. You know what I mean? We're seeing it in
yeah,
real time.
yeah.
This girl is gonna be one of those great actresses of the next generation, Gen Z, whatever you want to say. Phenomenal acting in this thing. At the end of the episode, when she has to take out David, it's
Oh
fucking
yeah.
phenomenally powerful. It's even better than the damn game. Honestly, this is actually. I think this is one of the few things where, like she's continuously just out acting the Ellie version from the game. You know, I feel like Pedro Pascal and oh my gosh, I'm forgetting this guy's name right now. Troy Baker, who plays Joel in the game, does the voice. I think him and Pedro have kind of like evenly matched. I feel for both their versions. I feel like Bella Ramsey is just acting circles around the voice actress for Ellie right now. I'm forgetting her name. Got to pull it up real quick. What the
And
hell's her
Troy Baker
name?
was actually in the show.
Yeah,
He was the
yep,
right
he's
hand
in here.
man with the main priest. I forgot our. Yeah,
Oh
the
yeah,
main
with
priest
David.
guy.
Yeah.
With David, there we go. David, he was the right hand man for him, and I thought it was pretty cool. And Troy Baker, he's been around with many
A
many
lot of
different
games and a lot of
li-
different, mostly PlayStation, right?
mostly PlayStation. He's been around a long time. One of the key ones being Joel, and the other one was Booker DeWitt back in BioShock Infinite. That was like one of the other
Oh,
big roles too that he did back in the day with the BioShock series. So it's cool to see him actually going in person, actually acting. I can't really recall a another TV show or movie that he's done. I've always heard his voice throughout, like pretty much like TV
different video
shows,
games and things of
different
that nature.
games. Pretty much within that realm. So it's very
Yeah. So
awesome to see that
Ashley
guy.
Johnson, that was the Ellie voice actor. I think she's done more TV and film more so than Troy Baker for sure.
Oh yeah, I would say so. Yeah, for sure, for sure. But I think she's supposed to be popping up really
Oh, never
soon
mind.
within
Troy
the next
Baker's done a
episode.
lot of movies and TV show.
Has
He
he
even
really?
did a voice on Naruto Shippuden.
I know he did that, but like, are you
The
talking about
dub, of
like,
course.
are you talking about like with like he does like a lot of stuff like in
Voice
person, like
acting.
real life? Oh,
No, no,
voice
no, no.
acting. Oh, I thought you
Yeah,
were
he's
talking
done
about.
voice acting in movies, but he hasn't done any live action, I don't think.
Oh, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, I
Oh,
know in
okay. I
voice
see.
acting.
I see.
In voice acting, he did like a lot of that. Naruto being one of them. I think he was Sasuke.
Oh, shit.
For one, if I could remember.
I'm gonna find this out. Hold on
I-
a second here.
And then he did like some other Batman films. Let me put it down there.
Yeah, I see him here. A lot of the DC animated.
Yeah, there we go.
Looks like he might have done Uncharted also.
He's done. Yeah, he just
Let's
done
check
a
it out
lot of
here.
different
Let's
stuff.
check it out here.
Troy
Damn, he has like a
Baker's-
whole bunch of shit that just came out. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, this guy, he's
God of War Ragnarok, Legend of Vox Machina. He did the Star Trek Lower Decks animated series, Young Justice, Rick and Morty, Batman: The Long Halloween. That was actually pretty damn good. Far Cry 6, haven't played those. Mass Effect, he plays Kai Lang in one of those
shit.
games, so I'm probably heard his voice and didn't realize it. So I'm playing through those right now. He was Simon Krieger in the Spider-Man Miles Morales game. He was
Simon
Bruce Banner
Oh,
in
was he
the
really?
Avengers game. Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! I didn't. You know what?
Ooh,
Hearing
wow.
Simon and Miles Morales, they kind of do have that same sound to it. I got there when I was doing the playthrough through Miles Morales, he did sound very familiar. I was like, who the fuck does he
Oh.
remind me of?
This is the guy. I knew his voice from something else. Uncharted, he played Sam.
He plays
That's
Sam
who he
in
was.
Uncharted.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't really
Uncharted
play
4,
Uncharted yet.
man. Oh, dude.
That's one of the series I know a lot of people have been telling me I should get into.
Oh, that is like I'm like planning out behind the scenes shit in real time right now with y'all. We are going to do game streaming for that. We must do it. It's an
Uncharted?
older game, but Uncharted, hell yeah, I got them all, dude. Come through
Oh,
like when
fuck
we
yeah.
learn that and get that process down. We have to do that.
Okay,
Fun ass
okay.
game, like adventure game. Obviously, it's not a 2-player game, but like just play till you die or whatever. Fun game. It's one of the best adventure games of all time. I like it better than Last of Us game. Still,
Oh, yeah?
Last of Us is up there. It's in my like top 10 at least of all time now, at least. But I would say Last of Us is in that top 5 probably. I'm still putting Uncharted maybe my number 1 game all time.
Damn.
All time maybe.
Okay.
I love Uncharted. Maybe that's just me, but I just fell in love with those games the last several years. And to me, they're just the stories are phenomenal. The gameplay is fun. It's always keeping you on your toes. The puzzles are like actually challenging, without being like frustrating to where you want to break your TV. But it's like challenging enough to where real gamers are going to get some good leverage out of that. The combat is really cool and everything like that. Like, it's a phenomenal game, and that's why the movie to me was like, it's okay, but they did not do justice to that game. And when you see the game play out, you'll know why. Like, it's like, oh man, they just missed a great opportunity right there to get it right out the gate. But hopefully they'll give it the Last of Us treatment someday. But getting a little bit back focused here. But yeah, Ashley Johnson, who's the voice actress of Ellie, she's gonna be popping up in this next episode. So didn't see her in here, but I just gotta say, Bella Ramsey is really giving her a run for her money in that regard. She's just killing it in this thing, man. And this might be the best acting she's done of the series in this episode right here. It's just phenomenal stuff. What Pedro Pascal had to do in this episode, also don't want to take away from him, doing great stuff. You know, obviously he's a little more laid out, but I love the way that when he finally comes to, it's almost straight out of the game. Like, it's like literally straight out of the game, just streamlined and trimmed down a little bit, but it's just straight from the game. And I absolutely love that sequence. Getting to see Ellie do the hunting straight out of the game once again, love that. And the actor that played David, he did such a phenomenal job of making him truly seem menacing and creepy, but at the same time seem almost warm and inviting in a certain sense. And you're never really quite sure what side he's on. And if I didn't play through that portion of the game and just beat the game previously to watching this episode, I wouldn't have been sure if we could trust him or not, you know? So I would have been a little more on my toes. So I think they did a great job for all the viewers out there that haven't played the game or watched the cutscenes. They'll be on the edge of their seat not knowing if they can trust him or not. And I think the actor did a great job, especially in the scenes with Bella Ramsey. It was just their back and forth. Phenomenal stuff. And every time I'm doing a show at this time of the day, the damn trash guy's got to come. I hope the mic didn't pick it up.
No, I
But
hear
anyway.
a little bit of it.
Damn!
It's fine, though.
bastards.
It's fine. They got their job
Con!
to do. They're getting paid. They're getting that green.
Ah.
Picking up the good trash, you know, for more trash being there.
Why did you say that name? No.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, man. But love this episode. Awesome stuff. The show just keeps getting better and better, man. But getting into some of the recap portions here, we're starting off with this episode. With this scene that is not from the games at all. Because as you alluded to earlier in our overall thoughts here, David and the rest of this community, if you will, cult in this thing, they have this whole religious aspect to them where, as David alludes to later or reveals later in the episode, he kind of preys on their fear and using religion to be a comfort to that in order to get them on his side and in order to get them to believe in him fully. He has this whole banner and this whole prayer that he gives, this whole sermon that he gives at the beginning of the day every day. And they have this whole mantra they live on that poster you see in the background on that banner there. When we are in need, he shall provide. And they have this whole religious aspect to the cult here. And them believing that God will come and help them get through the whole cordyceps apocalypse, if you will. And I love the way that the scene is just so chilling and so simple and quiet, you know. And you get the girl weeping there as they're giving that service for her father that has passed away, probably due to the infection. And I love the way that the actor is able to play it so earnestly when he's like, we will bury your father when, you know, it's too cold right now, but we will bury him. And I like the way that once you've seen, because I watched this episode twice, and I love the way that because last night I was watching it and fell asleep like 45 minutes into it, and then I had to watch it again this morning, and I just watched it all the way through because I just got sucked into it. Yeah, and I was like, I'm just gonna watch all of it again. But anyway, as I was watching it through the second time, I like how when you kind of come to the episode again, you'll kind of read that moment so much more differently because you really think he was being honest when he said like, oh, you know, we can't bury him right now. You know, it's like fucking snowed out like a bitch. So we'll do it later. Because that's kind of true, but not. Because they're not going to bury him. They're going to eat his ass. They're going to turn him into your supper for tomorrow. And that, to me, when you didn't know that aspect at first, I almost forgot about that from the game. I was like, oh, right, they're cannibals. I forgot that was in the game, too. They just didn't get into the details as much because they didn't have as much time in the game because of gameplay. But anyway, so we pick up with this scene here, and I think that was such a phenomenal idea and kind of played into some of the cold opens that Miguel was such a huge fan of in the earlier episodes, where they kind of set up something that kind of gives you a lot of context and background for the overall theme or part of the story that's going on in the episode at hand. So love the way they started it off with that. And then we get into Ellie going on her, still taking care of Joel and tending to him and making sure he's okay. giving him some of that food that she's been savoring and trying to make last ever since they were at Wyoming at Tommy's compound or whatever. And she's trying to make it last. She's trying to feed Joel and trying to get him to wake up a little bit. But she's like, man, she can see that things are getting so much worse before they're going to get any better. But she knows she's got to get them some real solid meat. And luckily, Joel was teaching her how to shoot and hunt a little bit. So now she's going to go out and do it for herself and go try to get her some deer. I'm going hunting. And going hunting, she does. And when she goes, man, she's got the rifle. She's ready to go. She's got the scope. Let's get it. And she actually shoots the damn thing, and she's actually probably gonna get it. She actually got him. So I was like, that's pretty cool to get to see the development of her character right there, just in that little action alone. And then when she gets to the deer, she ends up running into David, and my boy Troy Baker over here, his right hand man, brother from another mother, if you will. She runs into them two, and she's like, "All right, yo, don't you make any motherfucking moves, man. I'll put one right between your eyes, boy. Don't move. And you and Buddy Boy over there, you need to stay back." And then she's like, "What's the deal? What do you want?" And he's like, hey, you don't need to kill us. And he's keeping eye contact, David, that is, keeping eye contact with Ellie the entire time. Never blinks or looks away. Creepy as shit, but great acting on his part. And then he's like, hey, we're here, we're friendly. Maybe we can make a trade here. You know, I got a lot of people back at home that are hungry that would like to have animals instead of humans for once. So why don't we make a trade here? We can get you something. We can get you some supplies, some clothes. She's like, medicine? You got medicine, homie? You got some medicine or what? And he's like, yeah, we got some medicine. Yo, what's this? What the hell is Troy Baker's name in this thing?
I'm just going Troy Baker. I don't really
Troy Baker,
him.
Fuck it. Troy Baker, go get the medicine, bro. Don't shoot. Drop the gun. Go get the medicine, all right? Straight from the fucking game. This whole freaking exchange right here. Straight out of the game. It's freaking crazy. Like, word for almost word. It is just like the fucking game cutscene. I love it. I absolutely love it. And then she's like, all right, you and Buddy Boy better not make any sudden moves or you'll put one between our eyes. We know. Go get the medicine, dude. And then he goes off to get the medicine, and then he's trying to plead with her to get her to calm down. He's like, hey, I can make us a campfire. We can hang out and talk for a minute. Don't shoot me in the face, please. And then she ends up letting him do that, and they end up starting a fire and everything, and he's all explaining kind of his perspective and where he's coming from, what he's been up to and everything, and the people in the commune or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And then she's like, doesn't that sound kind of like a cult, bro? And he's like, well, you kind of got me there. I do be preaching and shit. But hey, look,
Preacher,
all right?
There you go.
Preach. But yeah, but look here, okay? I'm trying to keep people safe. We're good people. We can keep you fed. We can keep you clothed. We got warm blankets. We can keep a roof over your head. I think if you come with us, you get a better deal, which is kind of wrong and right at the same time. Yeah. Because it would be kind of a better living situation, but the circumstances of what she has to eat and the people she's going to be dealing with, not good. And David, as well, is a fucking creeper because they kind of allude to it slowly throughout the episode that this motherfucker might have been touching some people where he wasn't supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? And he has some cool creeper vibe going on that I'm definitely not liking. And Ellie's like, I don't know about that, bro. I'm not trying to do all that bullshit. And then homie Troy Baker gets back with the medicine. And then Ellie's like, all right, man, well, I'm going to get this medicine and get the fuck on out of Dodge. Peace out. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. And she gets out of there. And
wait. Didn't
I skip a scene? I skipped a scene, didn't I?
No. With the preacher, he was rounding off about like the little story. Remember how they were talking about like how one of the guys were like they sent out a group out to
yes, I knew I missed
city
something
in town.
I knew there was something from the game.
Yeah.
So that was the whole point of when he was explaining around the campfire. They were actually looking for them because he was saying that, oh yeah, I actually sent some of my boys out to go get some food and whatnot, aka people and or animals. And he ran into this crazy man that killed them all off that was traveling with the little girl.
Yeah, and
then Ellie's like, oh shit.
That's probably what they're talking about. That was the father too that they ended up beating. They brought him all the way back.
They ate the fucking dad, dude.
They ate the dad after he got stabbed. Yeah, and then that's why everybody, Troy Baker especially, I found out his name was James. Troy Baker James. He was the one that was like, you know what? That's kind of we can't let him off so easily. But yeah, that was the whole thing. The preacher was pretty much just going off that little story, telling him, you know what,
setting her up like, oh yeah.
It's kind of like building her up, and that's when James comes in, pretty much getting ready to like have the gun on her, and then that's when the preacher was like, you know what, stand back a bit. We can work something out, we got.
She's like, nah, fuck y'all, I'm out of here. Yeah, and then she dips out, and then she gets the medicine back to Joel, gets him the antibiotics and whatnot, the penicillin. which I'm actually allergic to, by the way. So if I was Joel,
Oh shit.
I'd have been dead.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't have gave it to me. So that's crazy, bro. I'm like, fuck, no apocalypse, please. Oh my lord, if I need penicillin, I'm just dead. Anyway, moving on here. So she gives it to Joel and everything like that, trying to start nursing back to health. And then she realizes that they tracked her back to their place at the house that she was staying in. So she's like, oh, shit, dude. I got to get the shit and get up out of Dodge and get him away from you, Joel. I'll be back. I'm coming back for you, brother. So she gets on the horse and tries to make a freaking escape. And it's straight out of the game from this point, man, because him, James, Troy Baker's character, and David were off over there walking in a group. And they're like, all right, man, we need to find her and find her alive because she's somewhere in one of these houses right here. We tracked her over here. And he's like, yo, man, you need to get rid of this little girl, bro. We don't even need to be dealing with this shit. Trust me. It's not even worth it. He's like, what the fuck you talking about, bro? We need this girl. I want her alive. And I feel like you're doubting me, son. So don't be doubting me, bro. We need to get her alive. And then she ends up dipping off on the horse. And they're like, all right, get her back alive. And James, he is on her ass because he's coming after her, hopping over fences and shit. And then they end up shooting the horse, like right out of the game, sadly but surely. And then ends up killing the horse. She goes flying off of the thing. And then she ends up getting captured and taken back to their place. And she's locked up in this little caged spot here. And that's when she wakes up and realizes what the hell is really going on because she sees a little fingy over there, a little finger underneath the table, and she's like,
Was it a finger? I thought it was an ear. Wasn't it?
It was some body part. I don't remember what the hell it was, but it was a body part for sure.
Oh, okay.
Ear or finger. We'll go ear or finger on that one. I can't remember. I thought it was a finger, but maybe it was just the way I saw it. But yeah, some body parts laying there, and she's like, yeah, that's not a zombie because they don't do that.
Yeah, it's kind of.
And she's like, you gonna eat me or what, dude? You gonna cut me up into little pieces or what, man? Fuck this shit. And he's like, well, no, if you calm down and let me creep on you a little bit, I might not kill you. And she's like, well, no, fuck you. And he's like, well, look, all right, this is your last chance. Stick with me and you'll be all right. And they want me already to kill you, so don't make me have to do this. And she's like, what are you going to do? Eat me and shit? Fuck that. I don't want to be here with y'all. And then he ends up saying like, all right, whatever, man. And then he tries this and he moves closer to the freaking thing and she's going to kind of bait him in, if you will. And then she ends up breaking his finger. And then she's like, I'll break your... She's like, well, let him... Or he's like, oh, yeah, what's your name? Tell me your name. And then she's like, oh, I'll tell you your name. Come here. And then she breaks his finger and she's like, let him know that the girl that broke your finger's name is Ellie, motherfucker. And I was like, yes, straight out of the game. And Bella Ramsey just delivered that line so well, man. It was just so good.
It made it all the way up to that. And it's creepy, too, how they were playing it all towards that scene. Because David was kind of playing as, like... He was playing like a very huge creeper. Like he was like wanting to have her be like the main girl, which is disgusting because Ellie's
grooming, young. Dude. Grooming. We hear that buzzword all the time. He really is doing it.
Yeah, trying to groom her as much, and that's why when like the whole hand thing, when he put his hand on top of her, I was like, dude, get the fuck away from her. What the fuck?
But I knew the finger break was coming. I was like,
that was something that I was like, all right, that's for sure going on with
this whole
that's
scene,
gonna end up
man,
happening.
It was exactly like the game, pretty much.
And then it's kind of like with that whole David little character. I like so when that happened, I was like, okay, so he was kind of like allure her a little bit. Ellie kind of already sees it, plays it off, and then right when he got the finger, snapped it. He was just screaming off of his lungs. He was like, "What the fuck? What the hell am I supposed to tell him now?" Pretty much. And then that's when
she's like, "Tell him who broke your finger, motherfucker."
And my name's fucking Ellie. And during this time frame, too, going back a little bit, they still had James and everybody still looking around for Joel.
Oh, yeah, they were still searching for Joel. Right. That's when we switch over to his perspective from the game, right?
Yeah, and I liked that a lot because that was something that in the game, if I could remember, like I thought about that too. I'm like, wouldn't they, after they got Ellie, wouldn't they still be looking for Joel because they still know he's around?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
And that's when you woke up as him in the basement. And then you go up through the house, get your little... trying to get some supplies and whatnot. Then you make your way from there through to the village. And then once you get to the village, you get into this big shootout, like right there in like the town square or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you make your way into getting to where Ellie was at. Yeah. So they just play that out almost verbatim. They just took out a little bit of the gameplay, obviously, because no gameplay. So they just took out like one fighting sequence and then kind of shortened it up to where he stabs the dude later in the neck and everything. I like how they did that too. That's like shivving him, I like how they just completely did that from the game, but it made sense in context with this. I don't know how they're able to recreate so many video game things in here without making it seem like it is. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of crazy how they do that. And I don't think any video game movie's ever been able to do that.
No,
You
not
know,
really. The thing is too, but like the thing was
or
like
the
I always
show,
thought
whatever.
about that. I always thought about that with the game too. Is like the recovery process for Joel because he was dealing with a huge fucking infection. It seemed like it was only a matter of a couple of hours, and he was kind of back to green health. He was able to move
Yeah,
around. By the time, that's why I was like, that's kind of a stretch. I because it seemed like in the game it's been quite some time, but in
it
the
had been a
TV
little
show
longer. Like it had been like a few months. I think it's still been like maybe a few months, but
it
it's
was.
hard to tell in here. It seemed like a little quicker.
It seemed like a few months, but I was thinking about like with the penicillin when Ellie was actually given the medicine. It
Yeah, he
seemed
should
like it
have
was
to
like,
heal up.
yeah, it was like he healed up really quick. It seemed like it was like pretty fast in the live show, but it kind of makes sense because he had to progress the show because he can't
Exactly.
really like it's only like 9 episodes and we're already getting close to the season finale. So that makes sense with like the whole recovery process. But it was awesome to see Joel kind of like bounce back. Like he hears the guy that was scavenging around looking around pretty much for Joel and he
Yeah,
sees that barricade that Ellie set up and he was like, oh, obviously the guy we're looking for is downstairs. So he moved it up, went downstairs, and that's when Joel kind of got that surprise attack on him, did that whole shiv attack, and I liked that. I was like, oh
loved
fuck.
it, dude. And the whole thing's like, it's like
Yeah.
so realistic too, like the way they did it. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, like it's so cool. Like it feels just as visceral as when you're playing the game. And I was just like, God damn, like, oh, freaking Last of Us, man. I love it. I'm gonna watch Chernobyl after this goddamn thing because that's the guy that does she's the showrunner that works with Neil Druckmann to make the show.
Oh
And I
yeah.
wasn't really interested in that before, but I was like, I got to watch Chernobyl. Even if I don't
Okay.
finish the show, like right off the bat, I was like, I gotta start that and check it out because this guy does great work, man. And just the way he's able to bring this story to life is just phenomenal stuff. So, yeah. But anyways, getting back focused here on the episode at hand, and then we get to over Joel's perspective. He's over there trying to fight his way through, make his way out of there, and then
He does the math thing. He pretty much does the math thing as
yeah.
well. He captured to the pretty much like he ended up capturing two of the guys right
Yep. Yeah, straight from the game, man.
from
Like, even
David's
the whole
crew.
torture sequence, like, where is she?
He's like,
Where are
yeah,
the drugs going? No, it's like, but where is she and shit like that? He's like, oh, you're gonna tell me where she is on this map,
and
then
it
he-
was ruthless, dude.
yeah, dude, he
It
straight
was
up took this
ruthless.
motherfucker out after he told him what he wanted to know, and then he's like, what the fuck, man? He told you what you wanted to know. I ain't telling you shit. And he's all, oh yeah, you are, because if you don't tell me and point to the same spot on your map as your buddy over there, you gonna die regardless, buddy. So you might as well cough it up, because you gonna die. You gonna get got. I already got what I need on this map. I'm just trying to make sure he ain't lying. So
Yeah.
I'll kill your ass real quick and find her myself eventually.
I think, well, in the show, it was a little bit different because the guy he was first interrogating, he was the one that shoved the knife in his kneecap. Pretty much saying, "I'm about to pop your kneecap off."
Yep.
And when he did that, the little movement of him like looks like sounds like he's about to pop it off. It sounded gruesome. I was like, "Fuck,
Ooh,
dude!" I
good
would
sound
not wanna-
design on that shit.
Yeah.
That was where the horror vibes come back into play. I was like, oh.
I would not want to be a part of that. But the guy, he pretty much did mark the map, and I think when he got stabbed in the knee, he pretty much told the truth at that point. And then
Oh, hell
that's when Joel pretty much in the show pretty much stabbed him immediately, and that's when the guy was in a panic mode. He's not saying, "Yo, what the fuck?" He told you what you wanted, but that's when Joel's like, he gets to see that ruthlessness of him. He was like, "Yeah, I know. I already know who's telling me the truth," and he was gonna pretty much beat his head in
Yep.
with the freaking pipe.
Oh, right. Yeah. He's like, I know he's telling me the truth. I just want to fuck you all up anyway.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my God.
pretty
This was
much.
really the first moment in the show, I think, in a while, where they made him as ruthless as Joel is in the game. I really feel like.
Yeah,
Not that
it
he
was-
hasn't been the whole show, but I just feel like this was really just stripped right out of there.
Yeah, we really do see that in this scene. This scene was
The
kind
darkness that he was always kind of afraid to show in those first couple episodes, except for when he beat that dude to death. Like, this was really that first real flash of the brutality of the gameplay and the kills that Joel will go to, you know? He'll go straight for
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees on you, bro. Like, it's pretty crazy. So I loved, getting to see Pedro Pascal really dig all into the darkness of Joel's character and really go all in on it. There's no Ellie around. I ain't pulling no punches, bro. You know, I love getting to see that. Getting to see that dark side of Joel, man, and getting to really see him pulling that dark side energy right there. So that was pretty freaking rad. And then as he's making his way through doing that, man, Ellie ends up getting out of the cage and whatnot, escaping from there. And then we get the whole scene in the little diner area, straight out of the game, straight out of the last boss fight of that chapter, where you got to sneak around. When David in the movie, I don't think in the show he had a knife or anything, but in the game he had a fucking machete or some shit like that, and he was running around with the machete or the blade, and he also had the gun as well. So you had to like kind of sneak around in the diner or whatever when the place is on fire to try to get him. You had all this broken glass on the ground. You got to try to sneak around so you don't make any noise and all that. That was one of my favorite sequences to play through as Ellie, because you're just sneaking around, shivving him real quick. It was such a great, intense sequence, man. And I love the way they were able to streamline it here and still play it out to great effect and everything like that. And then once you get to the moment where Ellie finally gets the better hand and kills this motherfucker, man, it is one of the most brutal kills I've seen in a while. Outside of like something really over the top like Terrifier 2, like something more realistic, this is the most most brutal kill I've ever seen like a younger, under 18 character ever commit, man. It was insane.
Yeah, and it was totally justified because like David was getting ready to rape her pretty much. Like
he was for sure.
Much like on top of her saying like, I like the way like if you don't understand this already by now, I like it when you struggle pretty much. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
That's when they fully confirmed the creeper vibes, and I love the way they subtly did it up until that moment, right? Mm-hmm. You know, like they didn't make it like too all in your face and shit. Especially when you got R. Kelly and Weinstein on trial right now. I like the way they were able to address that without throwing it in your face, because you know it's triggering for some people out there that really have gone through it. I don't mean to use the buzzwords here, but just people that have gone through this stuff, it is hard to watch. So I like the way they were able to subtly get it in there, but make it effective and not like pussyfoot around it, you know.
Yeah, I think that's what I really did enjoy from that scene, to see that, because that was a huge moment for Ellie, because that was like when her innocence was really taken away,
stripped
from her,
away, kind of in a sense. Yeah,
because it was the first time she ever has gone through something like
hand
this.
to hand, kill somebody.
Yeah, and doing that kill scene, she was like straight up just throwing out all of her anger onto him, pretty much onto David, and really just getting out the frustrations and disgust of like what David was about to do to her. And I thought that was a cool scene that I knew it was going to be like a huge moment for Ellie in the show, because yeah, it's such a big moment for her.
For real, man. She's never going to be the same again. And the Ellie that we knew beforehand is gone now, you know, in a sense, you know.
In a sense,
that truly innocent kid from the Chicago quarantine zone, that kid's gone, you know. Yeah, so it was heartbreaking to see, even though I knew it was coming. It was just so heartbreaking to watch in live action and see it take place again, and to see just the mental state she was in afterwards, where she couldn't even form a sentence when she gets out of the diner, and then Joel ends up finding her and just, you know, holding her and just embracing together and stuff like that. And he's like, "It's okay, baby girl, I got you." And she can't even like speak, you know, like she's so like in shock and so like mentally like just fucked from the whole situation going on in that day. Oh, and I just love the way that those two just powerhouse actors, man, just delivering and really bringing that emotion forward, even more so than the game, man. Like, I gotta say, like, I love the game, don't get me wrong, phenomenal. All the voice actors and Neil Druckmann, the directors, they all killed it in the game. It's just something about this, man, where it just feels more real, I guess, because it's really three-dimensional people really doing it. I don't know, but it just hit me harder, man. And one thing I will allude to a little bit in the future for the game, I'm not saying anything about the future of the series, so don't worry. No spoilers for that, and nothing really huge spoilers for the game either. But after this takes place and you go to the next and final chapter, when you get to over there to closer to the fireflies and everything, over there on the West Coast, I like how in the beginning of the game chapter, you know, Joel's like, "Hey, you know, I'm gonna teach you how to play guitar after all this is done. You know, I reckon you would like that. You know what I mean?" And Ellie's just like dazed and like out of it and not like responsive or energetic like she normally is, because Ellie 2 episodes ago would have been like, "Oh fuck yeah, man, what are you gonna teach me? What are we gonna learn first? You know, Billy Joel or fucking Green Day, whatever the fuck." And this one, she's like, "Oh yeah, cool, yeah."
Yeah,
you know, like she's just out of it, you know? And it's not even really until the end of the game, after everything goes down in the final chapter, where you even see her express any real emotions or anything. Like, she's just completely, like, just drained by that point. So I wonder if they're going to play it the same way with Bella Ramsey in the beginning of episode 9, you know what I mean? I wonder if they're going to do that, because I feel like it's kind of necessary, because someone would be a little shook up after that. And if not, or you would have snapped and you completely disassociate. So it's kind of interesting to see where that's going to go, but just something I'm just interested to see if they're going to play that out. But I feel like they will, because they stay pretty close to everything in here. But that's literally it for the episode, man. Mm-hmm. And just another phenomenal fucking episode of television. It's I would actually say this might be the closest to the game since the second episode, I would say, probably. Second or the fifth, I would say the second, the fifth, and this episode, I think, are the most faithful when you're talking about like the exact sequence of the events you went through to play through those levels.
Yeah,
Seems
I
like
would
the
say
most
so.
closest
Yeah.
to it, in 4 was pretty close too. I would probably say like 2,
2,
4,
4,
5 in
5,
this
and
one.
this
I
one.
would say
Okay.
we're like really right on the money because 6 really expanded a lot of different things and you saw a lot of different stuff. It was really just the beginning and kind of like the end that were kind of the same, but I feel like everything else in episode 6 was quite a bit different, which wasn't bad. I actually
Yeah.
think it was cool that they expanded upon everything going on there and just kept the same aesthetic and everything like that. And Tom and Joel kind of had a very different exchange in the game compared to this show as well. So I like the way that they kind of went more into their history together and really gave you more of a sense of what went down between the two, between Gabriel Luna's portrayal of Tommy and Pedro Pascal's Joel. So thought they did a phenomenal job here at adapting that Ellie story and really making Bella Ramsey really carry this stuff on her shoulders. And it just proves that she's just a powerhouse talent and actress in her own right. And I know not a lot about the second game, but I'm starting to dig into little tidbits here and there because I've finished the first game. And I know that she's kind of leading the charge a little bit more in the second game. And I think even at one point she has to kind of go out and journey on her own for a while and with her own friends and colleagues and kind of like stepping out, being an older young lady, teenager, doing things on her own. So I can't wait to see Bella Ramsey get to do that in season 2, and I think she's gonna deliver that in spades. And just can't wait to see how they're gonna tie up everything here in episode 9 because you know the end of the game. I now know the end of the game, and it's crazy. The decisions that are made in God damn, I almost spoiled it right there. God damn, like I almost said something I probably shouldn't have said. But whew, I just can't wait to see how they're going to do it. And the ending of Last of Us Part 1 still blows me away. I'm like, I can't believe they did that. What the fuck does that mean? Could we have did that, but now we never will?
Yes.
You know? I'm like, holy shit, bomb. Like, dude, like, because you know the whole story of Part 2, right?
Part 2, yeah.
Okay,
Pretty much,
so
yeah.
wow, like God damn, I just can't wait to see how they're gonna end it off in this episode 9 and how that's all gonna carry forward. Because by the time episode 9 rolls around, I should have just bought the game and maybe started part 2. So I just can't wait to see where this is gonna go. I know there's a lot of stuff taking place in Seattle. I know that she learned how to play guitar from Joel in between the first and second game. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I guess we kind of know they're gonna make it through the end of this episode, end of the season, but where everything else goes is going to be very interesting to see what they keep and what they change up and all that stuff. But
Totally agree.
yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up in comparison to something else, I think this might be the best show on TV since Breaking Bad. Personally,
Do you really?
I do. I think this gives
Okay.
that. If this show can deliver this for the next season or 2, however long they do the show, it rivals it easily, in my opinion. Maybe better.
It could get up to that point.
I
feel
think
like
season 1 is better than Breaking Bad season 1 right now. Like just season 1, I think it's better
of season 1, I'm trying to recall back in
for
Breaking
me.
Bad season 1.
Because for me, Breaking Bad season 1 was really good, and it didn't really start coming together till he blew up the place in the sink in the tub fell through the roof. Until those 2 events kind of happened, and the whole RV stuff took place and everything. Until those things kind of happened in the second half of season 1, I wasn't necessarily locked into Breaking Bad. Where this show, the whole entire time, I've been locked in, even on episodes where we don't even focus on Joel and Ellie, like episode 3, still locked in. So I personally think that this is better than season 1 of Breaking Bad, unless they completely drop the ball in the next episode. That's just me. I'm not saying the whole show because we haven't seen enough to say that, but it's better than season 1 of Breaking Bad so far, in my opinion.
I think season 1 of Breaking Bad, it was pretty good. I didn't mind it. I think it like to compare it though, because like the thing is with season 1 of Breaking Bad and season 1 of this is pretty much telling you like the whole story, while Breaking Bad kind of gives you like
You need more.
Yeah, it gives you like you need to have more of it to build over.
Exactly. That's why it's like it's a little hard. But I was just saying, if I'm gonna just go off of, or even like Stranger Things season 1, to me this gives it a run for its money, or actually is better. And I love Stranger Things. That's like my favorite TV show. And I'm not saying it's the best out there or anything, just my personal favorite. I think this rivals that, if it's not better,
It's pretty good. I would say, damn, The Last of Us is one of the best shows for video game adaptations in a long time, if not number one, because there's not really a whole lot of video game adaptations to live action that did really well. This is the first of its series, and I'm hoping moving forward in the future, like Uncharted, like we talked about, like how that movie kind of
do it again.
They can
make
do
it a series.
Yeah, and they
And
can
do
easily
the
do that.
story of the game. Stop smushing and changing shit. They took things from Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 4 and smashed it into this first movie. And I'm like, no, no, no. They cut out Nathan Drake's main love interest. I'm like, no, what are you doing? What are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
Like once you play that first game and we watch Uncharted the movie, or like if you ever or like watch the movie one day, and then one day when we start playing the game, you'll see like it's like what? What are you doing?
It's like
Mark
what's
Wahlberg, not Sully. Not Sully, man. It's like if Joel was played by it's like if Joel was played by an actor like a Seth Rogen or something. Where
God.
good actor, but that is not Joel, you know?
Yeah,
Or if
there's
Ellie was
a couple
played by like
instances
a
like that.
36-year-old woman or something. It's like, no, you're not. This is not it. Like Tom Holland, close enough. Like I think he was not a bad young Nathan Drake. I'll give him that. But the Sully character completely miscast. You took out one of the main characters of the story. You didn't do one of the pinnacle, because the first story of the game, without spoiling anything, it actually reminds me a lot of the movie The Descent. It starts off
yeah?
in a very adventure kind of vibe and goes into straight up horror after a while.
Oh, okay, okay.
But it
Yeah, I
but
can
it
see
also
that.
has that adventure. It's almost like Temple of Doom if it was actually scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like you went away from that to tell this lame ass, generic ass story from the fourth game mixed in with other things. It was just weird. It was really weird the way they were mixing all these weird things together and stuff like that. Like it's almost better when you don't know the game for that movie. I tell you, if you don't know the game, fun ass movie.
It's
If
a
you
fun
know the
movie.
game, it fucks up things because it's like you're expecting certain things, or you have expectations or whatever. Like this show understood the assignment and said, why don't we just take the fucking story and then just adapt the story to make sense for live action, but not change up the fucking story? Why don't we do that? And
Yeah.
that's why this show works. So it's fucking phenomenal, man. And I'm gonna throw this video in there. Just play the audio, play it with no audio in the background as we wrap up. It's the episode 9 preview.
After all we've been through.
After all they've been through, man, here it is. Season episode 9, the finale. So we see a lot of the stuff going on from the game. Who's that running in the field? That's very telling right there. Hospital. There you go, right there. That's the main reason why I wanted to show this. Ellie's mom right there giving birth, brothers. There it is, and
yeah.
sisters. That's Ashley Johnson, the Ellie voice actress, playing her mom in the show here. And that's pretty much it for the preview. I just wanted to kind of highlight some of those images right there. But yeah, next Sunday, the big finale is going down. Next Monday, we will have our spoiler-filled discussion talking about that, obviously how it compares to the game. And then I want to save like a good, nice portion of the conversation, maybe like the last 10 minutes or so of that. I want to get into some of the stuff that we think we're going to see potentially for season 2 from part 2 in the very beginning of the game. So some of the stuff we think they might start the season off with, you know? So we don't get too spoilery for anyone that hasn't played the game. By that point, I should have started the game, or I will about to be starting it, so we won't spoil anything for us or anyone else out there in the world. But I think it'd be fun to kind of get into where we think season 2 is going to pick up. So that's kind of how we're going to do it next week. You know, we do these things every week for the show. And thank you so much, guys, for checking out this latest recap / review of The Last of Us episode 8. We do these every single Monday, and yeah, we have a blast doing these things, man. So make sure you're commenting down below and letting us know what you thought about the episode. Share it with all your friends, family, coworkers, significant others, mothers, brothers, and sisters. Do it today, and we appreciate all of you that have been joining the community. Why don't you go ahead and join us anytime you like. We also got our podcast feed, all that other good jazz, so make sure you check all that out. And if you want some more fandom pop culture goodness, come right back here and check us out anytime. And until then, we'll see you again real soon. Much love. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.